Hey guys, I'm Maryam and welcome to the video. Today I'm doing an ultimate guide to NATASHA DENONA product. I'm going to review this entire line and talk about some of my favorites from this amazing, iconic, super expensive, but also very luxurious and very awesome brand. In this video, I will be talking about all the eyeshadow palettes and I will help you pick out the one that you might need if it's your first time trying out NATASHA DENONA shadows. I will also talk about her foundations, her complexion products, her lipsticks, and basically everything that this awesome brand has to offer. If you are a beginner to NATASHA DENONA, this is probably a video that you should watch and save for later because this will be your ultimate guide. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Remember to subscribe if you aren't already. Hit that notification bell so you can see all of my Wednesdays and Sundays videos. And now let's get to it. NATASHA DENONA, full face, ultimate guide, and a one brand tutorial. Here we come. I have so many products in front of me. I have a full tray of NATASHA DENONA products here. I have a whole lipstick case in front, and I have my palette stacked on the side. I'm literally just surrounded by all things ND. So now, although NATASHA is very much known for her eyeshadow palettes, she has a ton of other products such as face stuff, lip stuff, complexion stuff, you name it. So I'm gonna go through all of my favorites and I'm gonna start with this Magic Primer Anti-Shine Flawless Face Base. So now this anti-shine primer is 30 milliliters or 1.01 fluid ounces. It is $55, pricey, but it does mattify. I don't use this product as often as I probably should, but it is something that's good for the summertime, especially for someone who's oily, acne prone, and porous like me. NATASHA does have another primer, and that one is slightly more expensive, and it's the anti-aging primer, which is probably a little bit better for filling in your wrinkles and also has like a skincare factor to it. But I don't have that one and I've never tried it, so I can't talk about it. All right, I'm gonna blend out that primer with my brush. It actually does very much feel like skincare. It's very soothing and cooling on the skin, and it does really help to mattify the face. I'm gonna let that settle in, wait for my redness to go away. Next, let's talk about some foundations. NATASHA does have several foundations. One of them is the Face Glow Foundation SPF 15, which is a medium coverage, but it looks really pretty and natural on the skin. This one is $42. It's vegan. It does have a limited range of shades, only 12, but they are evenly distributed throughout the spectrum. At least it's fair, but it is definitely very limited in the shade range. Next up, we have the Foundation X Plus, or maybe it's 10 Plus, I'm not sure, which is more of a full coverage foundation. And this one came out after the original Foundation X. So this is the original, this is the latest version. I'm not sure what the difference between the two of them is. Maybe it's just a reformulation situation. But bottom line is, I'm not a huge fan of this full coverage foundation. Even though I am a full coverage gal at times, it's not really my cup of tea. It's not perfect. Let's just put it that way. It's not perfect and it's not my favorite thing to reach for. However, this Face Glow SPF 15, even though it's a much sheer type of foundation, this one is really pretty and it works for my oily skin type. So this is what I'm gonna be using today. But before I get into the foundation, kind of want to talk about NATASHA Sculpt and Glow palettes. These are gorgeous, massive highlighting, contouring, and bronzing type of face palettes. There's creams on top, powders on the bottom. This is light medium, and I also have the medium dark. So there's only two colors. I'm gonna hold them up so that you can compare. Now this is a nice option to have if you are a makeup artist or if you want to play around with creams and also with powders. So today I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna grab this contour cream first and foremost. I'm gonna use this Huda Beauty Face Sculpt and Shade brush. Just gonna pick up a little bit of that and I'm gonna go ahead and just contour my forehead. If you notice, I have this very red rim around my forehead. And that's because I was out in the sun yesterday and I missed a spot with my SPF. So I'm excited for the crust that's gonna happen at the top of my forehead. But for today, I'm just gonna pretend like it's not there. I'm gonna basically just add a bit of this contour, kind of just curve it up, hugging my cheek. Going for that contoured glow from within sort of look. I think ND's complexion products are perfect for that. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of her full coverage foundation, so I don't really try to go for that super glamorous face base with her products. Instead, I really like to go for a much more natural, ethereal, glowy sort of appeal. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and blend that out. The cool thing about about these creams is that they are very, very light. They're not greasy, and I absolutely despise greasy cream products. But for someone who really needs to do more contouring and highlighting than most, I would say that cream products are probably ideal. They look the most natural, they blend into your skin, they blend with your foundation, and they just give you a little bit more playroom. So although I'm not someone who reaches for cream contour products often, I feel like I have pretty chiseled face naturally. I don't mean to say it like, oh, I have a pretty chiseled face naturally, but you know what I mean. I have wide cheekbones, they're pretty pronounced, and I'm not someone who likes to contour heavily. I don't think my face is the type of face that requires it. Okay, so now that I did this, do I want to highlight a bit too? Yeah, let's just like, I don't know, chisel out this section here. So basically I'm gonna take my foundation brush, the other side of this Huda Beauty brush, just like pick up a pinch of product and just like clean up. Whoa, that's too much. That's too pale. That is not matching me right now, but you know what? It'll probably look really good once I have my foundation on. So hang tight. Now this palette is very expensive. It's $89, but it's massive. So if you're a makeup artist and if you're someone who is constantly reaching for cream contour products, who also needs powders, this would probably be a good purchase for you. And in today's video, I just want to highlight everything that is awesome from the Natasha Denona line, regardless of whether it's something that I use or something that someone else can really find beneficial. Okay, so now I'm reaching for the Face Glow foundation. Squeezy tube, which I like. Just added some to the back of my hand. Picking it up with my IT Cosmetics Love Beautifully brush. What I'm gonna start doing is basically stippling that all across my face. See how pretty that lays? The shade that I'm wearing right now is 42, which is a medium with a yellow, golden, warm undertone. I actually think that the shade match is pretty spot on. This foundation has a bit of a sticky type of consistency, almost a little bit balmy, but do you see how skin-like it looks? That is what I like about it the most. And I think even for someone like myself who's very oily, a dewy foundation, a glowy foundation can definitely work with a mattifying base. So this to me, the anti-shine plus the glow, is the perfect combination for me. I like to use a stippling motion when applying this one on, and then kind of blend it out around the edges. Pretty dewy. I don't have Natasha's concealer or powder, so I'm just gonna use my Tarte Shape Tape, plus my Pat McGrath for the under eye, and my Charlotte Tilbury for the entire face. I'm gonna do this rather quickly, and then move on back to the guide. Okay, concealer is on, it is set, my face is set. I didn't set my face too heavily. I still wanted it to be kind of glowy when I turn from side to side. So I only set the center of my face, which is where I get the oiliest, and the rest is still kind of wet. So now I talked about Natasha Denona's Sculpt and Glow $89 palettes. Now I quickly want to go over some of her smaller Bronze and Glow palettes. They are $55. However, the Bloom palette is now on sale for $38 on natashadenona.com. So these palettes are kind of like a smaller version of the Sculpt and Glow. Here I'm holding the Tan Bronze and Glow palette. Now you also saw me reviewing the Bronze Face and Glow palette in my previous Natasha Denona video, reviewing the entire bronze collection. This is what it looks like for your reference. Unfortunately, one of the shades in this palette came in crushed, and overall this is not my favorite palette. I just thought the colors in the palette weren't really skin tone friendly. I thought they were like a little too subdued or a little too orange. I wasn't into them. This palette, on the other hand, the Tan Bronze and Glow, is the opposite of that. This palette is really pretty. It does have two cream bases. One is slightly shimmery, the other is a little bit more metallic, but both are cream. There's also a matte with a slight sheen Bronze and Glow powder and a Glow Impact, basically highlighter powder. Gorgeous. I'm gonna use a little bit of the bronze powder here. Pick that up with my PIXI brush and basically use that to bronze up. Do you see how pigmented and how gorgeous that powder is? I think the shade is really super flattering. It resembles a real tan. It's not too orange. It's not too muddy. It's just pretty, and I like it. I'm gonna use a clean brush just to diffuse that a bit. Boom. And there we have it. So basically, if you are into some creams and also some bronzer highlighter options, then you will probably really get a kick out of this palette. However, if you still prefer the cream and the powder options with a highlighter, but instead of a bronze glow, you want a blush, then these two palettes are really awesome. The Love Glow palette from the Valentine's collection and the Bloom Blush and Glow palette, which is now on sale, like I said, for $38. Now we also have some blushes, some blush duos, although don't be confused. The pan that says Duo Glow is actually a single blush, and the compact that says blush is actually a duo, so that might be a little bit confusing, so just make sure you are looking at the right product. Both are $38. Both I think are really, really great. Now I think I'm ready to move on to the most exciting part of this video, which is probably why you're here if it's your first time seeing me, because you want to know all about the palettes and you want to know which one to get. So let me proudly show you my entire Natasha Denona palettes collection. You guys, I am a proud owner of, I would say, almost all of Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. I'm trying to be very careful because they are fragile and I don't want to ruin them, but I do want to tell you all about them. So let's start from the top. And by from the top, I mean Natasha Denona's most expensive palettes are the 28 eyeshadow palettes in two color combos. We have the blue purple and we also have the green. So now these two are the very first eyeshadow palettes that I've ever tried from Natasha Denona. They are also the biggest with 28 eyeshadows in each palette. These are $239 each. Yes, I know that is very pricey, but these 28 pan eyeshadow palettes are basically the introduction to the Natasha Denona brand, to the line. These were the first products that she came out with, and they took the beauty industry by storm. They were just so incredibly pigmented, such a gorgeous color combination on both palettes. They were just a dream to work with for a makeup artist or for a makeup enthusiast. And I remember getting my hands on this first palette and literally feeling like I've made it in the makeup world. This one palette made me feel beautiful and it made me feel like an artist all at the same time, just because it's one of those palettes that really cooperates. All the shadows are stunning. They all work together. You can create numerous looks. It is a classic and it is probably one of my most beloved palettes in my collection. I also love the green because the green has some incredible shimmery shades that are just so prismatic and so unique, but there are a lot of greens, and if you're not a lover of green, then you probably won't get as much use out of this palette as you would out of the blue purple. Okay, moving right along to the $129 eyeshadow palette category. In this category, we have another 28 eyeshadow palette, but this one is a limited edition and it's a lot smaller than the original 28 palette. This is the Metropolis palette. So a quick comparison of just the pan sizes of the original 28 palette to the Metropolis. This one is clearly significantly smaller, which is why it is a lot more affordable. I would say the Metropolis palette also leans very, very green. There's a lot of warm shades too, but there's also a lot of greens. If you squint, overall, this looks like a very olive palette to me. But I did do a review on that palette, so you can check it out up here. In the $129 category, we also have the Gold palette, the Lila palette, the Sunset palette, the Biba palette, Tropic palette, which is one of my faves, and last but not least, an all matte Safari palette, which is actually now on sale for $65 on NATASHADENONA.com. This is a great palette and it's all mattes. Review on that up here. I skipped another kind of expensive category, which is the $169 one with the Natasha Denona Star palette. How many shades is that? 18, am I right? And then recently this year, Natasha Denona finally launched a much more affordable version of her 15 pan palettes. These were $65, with the first one being the Sunrise palette, which was the sister palette to the Sunset palette, but again, much smaller pan sizes, similar to the Metropolis palette. Next, she came out with the Love palette. This was for a Valentine's Day collection. And last but not least, the most recent addition to this category was the Bronze palette, which I just recently reviewed, and you can check it out up here. Now, this palette I think is gorgeous. And if that is still too pricey for you, Natasha Denona does offer some 5-pan eyeshadow palettes at $48 each. These are the full size, or there's even one more option for you, the minis at $25 each. And here's a size comparison for you. Okay, so in my humble opinion, if you are not sure which palette to get, but you have a budget, then I would probably easily recommend Natasha Denona's bronze palette. I think this is probably the best for your buck. It's $65, gorgeous shades. These are very, very wearable, very neutral, but the quality of these is absolutely superb. They are just so buttery, so smooth, so pigmented, so gorgeous, so easy and fun to use. Just check out my video after you watch this one and you'll be floored. If you're a lover of pastels or vibrant colors, I would highly recommend the Tropic palette. This one is more expensive. This is $129, but the colors are insane. All of these perform magically, beautifully. You could use them all year round or in the summer for a pop of color, but there's plenty of neutral shades to create an everyday look. This is another one of my favorite palettes from Natasha. And if you're willing to splurge, of course, then I would 100% recommend the original 28 pan eyeshadow palette, the blue purple one, because it is just so gorgeous and everyone needs it. Oh, and don't forget, if you're a lover of mattes, this one is now on sale for $65. This is a snatch. So is the Metropolis at $129 for $28. Although it is smaller, this is a limited edition for a makeup artist or for someone who really wants to play around and get to know the Natasha Denona brand and quality. That would be a palette that I would recommend. You guys, I think I'm ready to jump into this look. Today, I want to go for something easy and wearable and summery. I want to do something fun and airy and light. I've reviewed most of these palettes on my channel already, but I honestly can never get enough of the Tropic palette. So today I'm going to dip for a little Tropic palette just because I love it so much. And I'm also going to reach for the Sunrise palette just because it is a $65 category. Let's do this. I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty primer, even though Natasha Denona does have an eyeshadow primer that I've never tried. This Fenty one seems to be working with pretty much every single eyeshadow that I own. I'm gonna stick to it. Get it? Stick to it. All right, blending that out with my finger. I'm gonna do a wash of Peach Puff here, starting at the inner portion of my eye socket and bringing that out. I was saying in my previous Natasha Denona video that because ND's eyeshadow quality is so superb, I would really love to see this brand attempt a pastel palette because pastels are so tricky to use and they don't work on every single skin tone. But if anyone can do them justice, I think it's Natasha Denona. So in response to my comment, someone mentioned that the Tropic palette has some pretty pastels, and I do agree. So today I'm going to kind of create a pastel-y look using some of the pastel-y shades from the Tropic palette. The brush that I'm using now is Morphe M504. I'm honestly kind of just painting this on. I'm not really worried about being precise or keeping super clean. I'm just adding it all over. Same shade, and I'm going to add that to my lower lash line. Now, in my humble opinion, Natasha Denona has some of the best eyeshadow palettes out there. Natasha is the queen of eyeshadow pigment, and her palettes just reign supreme. Yes, they are very expensive, but at least there are options for everybody. These are not NYX prices, you guys. These are luxurious, high-end products, and the prices are, well, they are set accordingly. Next thing I want to do, pick up this beautiful lavender shade called Zena. This is a flat brush from Billy B. I'm gonna add that all over my movable lid, slightly past my crease, kind of just packing on the color and making those two blend and meet right here in that hood part. You see how the shadows are just so easy to apply. They're really, really vibrant. They're easy to work with. There's no fallout. Even if there is fallout, they're not sticking to my foundation, even though my foundation isn't even set yet. I'm adding a pinch more to this outer corner. So essentially I'm lifting the lid in the outer portion like that. Next up, I'm gonna reach for this shade called Sangria, which looks like sangria. And I'm gonna add that to the border between my lavender and between my peach. Just right here, also to deepen it a bit, like that. And then I'm gonna blend that out with a big fluffy brush, like that. Easy peasy. Pinch more sangria, blending that out. You see how I said I wasn't gonna make it dramatic? I wanted to make it light and airy, and now it's looking like a pretty dramatic sunset. Billy B brush, adding a bit more of that lavender to the border. Okay, next up, I really want to reach for this super shimmery pale yellow shade called Limoncello. I'm gonna use Sigma's Exact Blend E32 brush, stamp that to my inner corner, and then bring that in. Bit of fallout there with the sparkles, but nothing crazy. Pop is really nice though. Again, so just stamping that, bringing that in. Gonna take whatever's remaining on the brush and just run it through my brow bone for a bit of a highlight. I'm gonna take a precise little brush from Sigma, reach for that sangria. I'm gonna push that color all the way into my lower lash line and then feather it out. A little bit more peach. And blend that out. I'm gonna close out the Tropic palette. I'm gonna put it away. I'm gonna reach for the Sunrise palette. I'm gonna grab this shade called Aster, which is a really beautiful, kind of like a lavender violet duochrome shade. I'm gonna pick that up with my finger. I had a bit of Fix Plus, and I'm gonna stamp that little concoction onto my lid. So this is gonna create a nice, wet, shimmery look, but it's not gonna affect the matte portion. Like these two shadows are a really, really nice match. I just wanna layer a little bit of sparkle to the inner portion of the lid. Clean that up real quick. Grab just a bit more of that sangria shade and add that to the inner portion like that. Not too much, but just a smidge. You see how that does make a difference. And then that big fluffy brush and just mute it out. Mute it out straight into that brow. Oh, so nice. All right, you guys, I'm gonna leave the eyes alone. I'm gonna add some waterproof mascara, not from NATASHA DENONA, but from PIXI, because NATASHA does not have any mascaras currently, nor does she have any waterproof versions. But I went on her site and she actually has a ton of falsies, which I had no idea was a product that she produced. Not that I need or want falsies for this look. I feel like one coat of waterproof mascara is just enough. This is still very fresh and it's still very, very summery and very colorful. So I'm feeling the vibes. Next up, moving on to the lips. If you are not familiar, NATASHA DENONA has a whole line of gorgeous nude lipsticks called I Need a Nude. I have them here in front of me. These are $25 each. I did review them on my channel. You can check them out up here, but I'll give you the short version. They are really, really pretty. And there's a lot of shades for every single skin tone, for every single undertone. And basically, if you are a lover of nude lipstick, gotta get your hands on a couple of these because they are really, really good. I'm also a huge fan of NATASHA's Lip-Oh-Phoria Lip Gloss / Lip Balm duos. They're not really duos. It's kind of like a hybrid product. It's very, very hydrating on the lips. It's also very glossy, so it's the effect of a gloss with the feel of a balm. Looks amazing on the lips. She recently just came out with 3 more shades from the Bronze collection. So altogether, I believe there are 6 shades and they are great. So for today, I am thinking something a little bit punchier might be nice. How about this duochrome coral? I think this would look great with the eye look that I have going on. And it's a shade that I haven't used before, so here goes. This is very summery, very, very beachy. Definitely a little bit different for me, but I like the vibe and I feel like kind of brought everything together, didn't it? All right, so now let me quickly add a bit of blush. Well, might as well just go for the Bloom Blush and Glow palette that is currently on sale for $38. I'm gonna reach into this shade here. Everything is just feeling so sun-kissed to me, so like ripe. And then for the highlight, let's go for the Glow Extreme here. And let's add that on the very tops of my cheekbones, also on my nose bridge, chin, and a little bit on the forehead. Okay, I'm gonna quickly etch out my brows just to make them a little bit more fitting for this look. I'm gonna make my hair a little cuter and I'll be right back with my final look and my final thoughts. All right, you guys, and here is my final look using all NATASHA DENONA products, keeping it kind of beachy, easy, with a hint of glam and a hint of summer. So I hope you enjoyed this full, thorough review and my take on what are some of NATASHA DENONA's best products. I hope you like this look and I hope you make it yours. Let me know if you guys have any questions at all about any of the products that I have mentioned, about any of the prices. Let me know which brand you'd like to see featured in my next Ultimate Guide series. Comment below, let your voice be heard. As always, remember to subscribe if you aren't already. All right, I'm zooming on out, you guys. I will see you in my next video. I love you so much. Mwah.